All right, hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Comic Book Radio, episode 33. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti, and tonight my guest is KELSEY Shannon. KELSEY, I'm going to be talking to him about this book he's got called Scribbles. Scribbles. It has to do with layout and design, so we're going to be having a talk about that book and also making comics and art and all that good stuff. But also, I'm sure we're going to dive into other things. KELSEY's a interesting fellow. Love KELSEY. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I want to say hello to you in the chat before we bring on KELSEY. Citizen Ronan, what's up? Hey, Citizen, how are you? We got Seer of All That Is Obvious here. Hope you're doing well. We got Fritzy Schnitzel. What's up, Fritzy? 10-8 Comics. Thank you for joining us tonight. Buddha Bear is here. What's up, Buddha Bear? We got Mighty Joe as well in the chat. Bretsky the Great is here too. Hey, Bretsky. Also, Brian Suddenly Old. Hey, Brian, how's it going? Buddha Bear says, hopefully it's not a Jack show waiting on KELSEY. Oh, yeah, it's okay. So he's here. He's here. Citizen Ronan says, just shoot a flare from your New Hampshire mountaintop in the direction of the bayou, and he'll see it. All right. Well, I did that, and he came a-running. So good advice. Mighty Joe says, just start, Pete. KELSEY runs on his own time. Bayou time. Goodness gracious. Lion Mill Studios, hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us tonight. Black Hat Cinephile, hey, how's it going? Randy Scribner also in the chat tonight. Hey, Randy, we got Jeremy Deal here as well, too. And thank you. I'm glad you dig the intro, Jeremy. Cole King is here as well, and so is X-Gal. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Hey, Johnny Slaction, what's up? And a beam pad is here. All right, so without further ado, let's bring on the man of the hour. The human cryptid himself, Mr. KELSEY Shannon.
I love it, all the people here giving my excuses for me. Just shoot a flare. He'll be here. Don't worry. I love it.
Oh, man, oh, man.
How you doing, Pete?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Is it possible to see your handsome face tonight, or are we just looking at the pad?
Yeah, get in there. Hello. I need to get a splitter so I can have like a 2-camera setup. I don't have like man, if you know me with these freaking wires,
yeah,
I got wires coming out everywhere, out of every orifice. I got wires, and I'm like, I just got to the point where I'm like, I'm done trying to like set up my camera every time I get on for like film or whatever. So
I hear you.
I am gonna get a splitter so I can do the 2-way. So people can see my charming face. Otherwise, it's like I could do this. See, can I go upside down? Hello. Hi.
There you go. I told you, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be that kind of show tonight. It's going to be a good one. All right.
Never know what to expect, except that it's going to be weird.
Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. A lot of fun. Jeremy says, what was that majestic beard we saw?
As a beard, can I get it? Hello.
You could use that to paint with.
Yeah, I could.
Do like the Bob Ross house painting brushes.
I heard people make their own brushes. Maybe I can do that out of beard hair. I wonder if that would work.
It probably would. You'd probably get some good texture out of it. Yeah. Get that dry brush effect going.
I hope you don't mind. I've been doing like some painting and stuff.
No, I don't mind at all.
Doing this, I'm trying to get like a comic book look in colored ink. I mean, this is colored ink, which I know they used to color comics with, but I'm trying to get that across by hand. So I've been doing a lot of testing and stuff. A little each night, I do a little more some ink drawings, because like I know you're a man like myself. You like some of the old ways of doing things, you know, some of the more traditional. Yeah, so I'm going for broke. I'm like, I got to put my money where my mouth's at, and I'm actually going to like color and even letter by hand, so that when somebody sees these originals or buys one, it will be exactly the same as they're seeing in the book. So I think that's kind of an exciting idea.
Man. That's great. Now you bring up a good topic
right
that we could talk about here. So, in regards to the fact that both of us love traditional art, we love a lot of the traditional ways, but you know, it kind of seems like almost a near impossibility to avoid doing something digital.
Yeah.
So, you got this book out. You got this book that you're funding. It's called Scribbles. If you guys want to check it out, feel free. The link is in the description of the show. I also have Kelsey's YouTube channel in the description of the show too. If you guys haven't subscribed to that yet, no problem at all, man. So there's the link if you guys want to check out that book. We'll look at that a little bit later. But what was the whole concept, the idea behind putting that together? Because it is a pretty interesting concept and a great looking book.
Well, I love process books. I'm like a big dork when it comes to comic book stuff, and I love and I used to think I was the only one. Of course I'm not. Everybody in this business, most people love it. I mean, when I did one of my first books, Bastard Samurai with Mike Oeming, I had a little 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and all my layouts on one page, and they were just like literally thumbnails, but there was a lot of detail in them. And I actually had an artist, if I can remember who it was, I can't remember who it was, but somebody of note actually like bought that from me. And I'm like, don't you want any of my original pages? He's like, no, I just love these layouts, you know? And I'm like, I understand. And then we get like guys like the Japanese. I'm like obsessed with these. I don't know if here they are. I had all these pulled out at one point.
Love it. It's like show and tell with Kelsey
for reference. Yeah, Steam Boy. Here's LaShawn's Nervous Breakdowns art book.
Oh wow, yeah.
So I have a ton of these, and they're like chock full of all the process stuff, you know. And he even has layouts for his like Ninja Turtles.
It's like seeing the ideas before the ideas, you know. Like that's you only see so much of what's out there, and it usually gets put through a meat grinder before you see it. And I love that stuff too.
A whole bunch of other people's hands, you know. You got inkers, you got colorists, you got all these people, editors, and I think this is like the artist in its purest form, or at least the comic book guy, because they're reading the script and they're doing this. Nobody else's input yet. You haven't sent it to the editor. You haven't done any of the corrections or any of the inks or anything. So this is ideation in its purest form, right from the artist's hands. And there's no lies here. I have to say pencils lie, because when you try to translate it to ink, you know, you think, oh, I can do that, and then the ink loses life to it. So
yeah.
But yeah, pencils may lie, but they are the truth of it right there, right? I guess.
They do such a great job at capturing the energy, you know.
But I love some of these Japanese books, and I have a ton of these. Like one of my faves, my recent faves, is this fella here. I'm forgetting his name right off the bat, but he works at Studio Trigger. I think he worked at Gainax. But like when you look at his book, it's just like he doesn't say anything. I think he's like, I don't even know if there's any commentary in here at all. It's just a giant book of all his sketches.
It's like owning his sketchbook.
Yeah.
Literally.
And it's even fun too, because he's an animator and he works in animation, so all the pages have the animation pegs at the top. I don't know if they built that in or if he actually is drawing on.
Flip them in the binder and on the board. Yeah.
So and I got tons of these. I got more and more and more of these, and like it's a big deal to me, because this is artwork that nobody really gets to see. You know, it gets done, and it sits in a drawer or in a file for the rest of its life. You know, and it's like. Me personally, like I'm always after guys like David Williams or Aaron Lopresti or anybody to see their layouts or their sketches and stuff. And sometimes people are like, no, I don't want to show it. I don't want to show any of that stuff. I'm like, why not? That's the best stuff for me. So that's the whole idea behind the book, is to do, first and foremost, to do a book that I want. The ultimate sort of process book. The full breadth of whatever I've worked on, from storytelling to animation, character design, to just sketches, to just random weekday doodles when I'm sitting on my phone. I just anything of note that looks cool, I'm putting in this book to just be a feast for anybody for $30 too. So
That's great. Yeah.
200 pages.
And I'll touch upon this a little bit. I'll show everybody here just a little bit about this, and then we'll do more a little later. But this is what I'm talking about right now. It's on fundmycomic.com. You guys can go check that out. I'll put the link one more time in the chat if you want to directly go check it out. And this is on there. 261 backers, 15,706 raised in about 2 weeks almost.
Yeah.
And you've got 16 days to go. And you've got a t-shirt on there, and you've got a book. And then, Kelsey, everything else is sold out.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I know. All my originals sold out like pretty much the first day or two. So I need to put... That's another reason why I'm doing some of these.
Do an original on the show today and put it up. That'd be awesome.
That's what we're going to do. I'll do that right here.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
I'm going to put these up, probably tomorrow. I'll put them up, see if... I've been a digital guy for over 20 years. So I don't have a lot of original art floating out there. So this whole kind of what really lit a fire under my butt is the AI art started. And like I don't really have much feelings on it one way or another, but I did see it as an opportunity to shift gears. I'm like, okay, everybody's upset about this. Everybody's like embracing it. Everybody's whatever. It's so divisive.
Yeah.
Here's a great time to like, well, yeah, that's great that you can do it by the computer and have the learning language and all that stuff do it for you. But hey, I could do it by hand, and you can have it in your hand, and various things like that. The old ways of comic stuff, blue line painting technique. All these things are going to be lost unless we hang on to them.
What I love about traditional art, and I don't know if you could ever feel it with anything like that, it's the same thing with any painting, sculpture, work of art that's made by hand. Whether it be it could be a cabinet made by hand. My grandfather, my Italian grandfather, he was a master at just all these ornate intricacies of carving into the wood and the polish and the finish and the structure. Oh my Lord. Just mind-boggling to me. And I really feel the same thing happens with original comic art. You can feel the energy, the humanity, the everything poured into that page, especially when you look or see or hold the art. If you're an art collector out there and you've got original art, it is a different energy, a different vibe holding that original piece of art than holding a print. No matter how good that print is, it could be dead on. It's such a different feeling, and I think for us to lose that completely and see so many people being so willing to not just surrender it to digital art but surrender it to AI art is kind of strange. But
it's novel. It's a novel thing right now.
And for me, it's like you do what you want to do. That's fine. But all of the AI stuff, I feel like we as human beings are not mature enough yet to go down that road. And we're going down that road way too fast. And
we want to or not.
Yep. It's inevitable, especially because it's largely out of our say. But it's great seeing people like you and a lot of other artists out there that are trying to say, okay, you know what? As the tide maybe shifts a little bit or rises at least towards this end of the spectrum, people are going to want original art. It's going to become more and more of not just a scarcity and something that's rare, but something that's special and unique more than ever before. So it really is. It is a great time to start doing exactly what you're doing.
Well, I mean, it also. I've worked digitally for over 20 years. I think I was one of the early guys. I wasn't like the first, but it was definitely so early that trying to talk to Marvel and DC about what it is I was doing, they didn't understand. I'm drawing it in the computer, and they're like, like the coloring. We do the coloring in the computer now. I'm like, no, I'm actually drawing it in the computer. And they couldn't, they didn't understand what an FTP was. I was like, can I just send this FTP? I don't want to use FedEx. It's all digital. And they just couldn't get it. I'm like, let me help you set it up. They're like, we have one. We're just not really sure how to use it.
And how long ago was this?
Oh gosh, this was, not that long ago when you think about it, because I did Bastard Samurai. I did that by hand at Image, and Mike Oeming inked it, and that was about 2001.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was gonna say it sounds almost 20 years ago from what you're talking about. That transitional phase.
To me that was yesterday, but you're right. It was like a while. But with the 2000s, I don't picture them being that long ago. But
when you think about it, right? If it's 20 years ago is 2003, well, 20 years from 2003 was 83, and then 20 years from 83 was 63. 2023 to 2003 doesn't seem like, other than internet stuff and smartphones, it doesn't seem like we've progressed too much.
There's not a lot of markers. There's not like I always go by.
It's a whole different world from 83 to 2003, and especially 63 to 83. It's a different planet.
I always mark it down by cartoons or movies. I'm like, 1989, Batman came out in the theater. I remember that very clearly, where I was, what state, 89. I knew that. I knew Image Boom, 1990, 91, 92, all that stuff. Probably 91, I guess, more specifically. But I remember these things marked by like events or time or movies or things, and like that'll just show you like not much too interesting has happened. Except for a few things.
To keep going back to the well of what happened, we feel like we're in kind of this weird time loop, but the time loop gets worse and worse.
Dude, if we're in like,
especially entertainment storytelling wise, for the most part.
Oh yeah, we're in a transition period, and I often refer to this to people who are thinking about trends or like what kind of clothes can be worn, and I'm like, we're in this special, really confusing and really kind of irritating time period, but you can literally do anything you want and it'll be accepted. Like style, you can go straight bell-bottom pants if you want, and nobody would bat an eye. I can draw like super cartoony if I want. I could draw super realistic if I want. There seems to be no trends per se right now.
Yeah, it definitely is standardless right now, for better or worse, right?
And that's a good thing.
But that also, if you're a creative individual, especially, and if you're also someone out there who really enjoys all kinds of different creativity, it's a great time, to be a little bit optimistic on the side of that. It really is, because now, like you said, you could do all this kinds of creative experimentation, and you're going to find an easier time breaking through and finding that audience than you would have before, because everything looks, a certain way, and if it doesn't look that way, it's not even considered. Well,
and especially, I do firmly believe that we're in the cusp of a kind of do-it-yourself attitude about not just comics but everything.
Yeah.
Look at like, I just go by from what I feel, and I often think I'm some original thing, but I find out that everybody's feeling this way. I don't watch TV or movies. I watched the Indiana Jones, but it felt like a chore. I'm like,
the newest one.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I don't know if it's bad or if I just don't care anymore, and I think it's probably a little bit of both. Like, I think it's mostly that I've moved on. I'd rather watch Red Letter Media talk about it than I would actually watch the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more interested in what we're doing. I want to see what Pete Sametti's doing today, not the new TV show that
I'm feeling the same way.
CW. Yeah. So
this stuff, getting a glimpse into a variety of topics. The range of the different things that I find on YouTube in and of itself, I'm always like, there's so much on here that's so unbelievably interesting, and it's all this stuff from people who are doing incredibly fascinating things, and having all these kinds of conversations, putting tutorials out there, different viewpoints of life, perspectives, whatever it may be. And
Hmm.
I don't know how on earth anyone could watch cable TV, especially anymore, because all their programming, anytime I'm over like my in-laws, because they're the only people I know at this point that are close to me who have cable,
Yeah, yeah.
they don't even watch cable. It's like all the broadcast network stations, and they're paying like $200 a month to watch broadcast TV, and I'm like, we have an antenna for that, and I don't even really use it that much. And it's like a
Exactly.
$30 antenna, and I'm like, what's on broadcast today? Oh, nothing. All right, time to go back to see what's around on streaming and on YouTube, especially
I
if
get
I'm
that.
watching anything.
Dude, I had these guys from AT&T come by my place to try to sell me, a new package of TV and all that, and they were like, "We got this new deal for TV." I'm like, "Actually, I just need an internet deal. What do you got with the internet?" And they were like, "Well, it comes with the TV." I'm like, "I don't need the TV." And they're like, "What do you mean you don't watch TV?" I'm like, "No, I don't watch TV." And they were so confused. They were like, "Well, where do you watch TV?" And I'm like, "I don't watch TV." And they were like, "Do you stream?" I'm like, "I don't know, sometimes I'll stream something. I'll see what's playing on Netflix or something." And they were like, "Well, what about sports?" I'm like, "I'll go to the bar if there's a good game on, I don't watch TV. I don't know how to describe that to you." And they just couldn't get it. So, but
That
I don't
can't
know.
be something that they're hearing from a small amount of people. That has to be something that's so
Yeah.
widespread. Every single time I talk to someone, they're like, I don't have cable. I haven't had cable for 10 years.
Well, they're young, but I don't know. That seems weird too, because it feels like young people aren't watching TV as much
Yeah.
as we did. I mean, I watched the shit out of TV back in the day. I was a TV nut. I grew up on TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And even when they had everything in syndication that was from the 60s or 70s, I was
Man.
loving that.
Loved it. Loved it. I had a great love affair with TV that went on for a long, long time. But we've had our time, and it's time to move on. All right. I love
Exactly.
you, TV. It's been great. You're not who you used to be. I'm ready to try new territories.
It's absolutely you. It is not me.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, so it's definitely a time for creativity. I mean, it goes
Yeah.
even as far as like growing food, man. I'm getting so dissatisfied with the quality of vegetables and fruit and all these various
Man,
things.
you're
to
on the same
point where,
page as me, Kelsey.
yeah, I think a lot of us are.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about it was your grandfather who would carve
Yeah.
wood and make. Yeah, I mean, what you were saying about that is spot on, because I felt like I was not empty, but there was something missing doing digital artwork for so long. And when I started getting back to paper, it was rough, man, because I'm used to having that undo. And I got to where I'm like, let me just scribble. And I would just scribble on paper, just trying to get used to the feel of it again, and inks and stuff like that. And then I started learning how to relax, take my time, and get the feel of it again. And there's a catharsis.
Oh, yeah.
There's something about
It's meditative.
yeah. Oh my God. I'll have something playing on TV, and then a couple hours have passed by. I never heard
Yep.
anything on TV. Never clicked past the commercials. I was completely lost in the pencil moving across the paper or the paint. I love painting.
It's
now.
so important. It enables you, especially on a healthy level. What you're doing too, everybody out there as well. I really recommend this. If you're in a moment of stress and you're doing something or whatever it may be, and you do enjoy drawing or whatever your hobby is, but drawing especially, when you're doing things like scribbling and you're just focusing on the line and you're just kind of going with it and you're just doing your thing, what you're actually doing is you're tapping into your subconscious. Your subconscious
Yep.
is starting to be called upon. And you have conscious mind, you have subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is getting called upon at that point in time. And as soon as you start tapping into that, you enter into a meditative type of state.
Yep.
And you actually start training your mind. That's how you develop things like muscle memory. That's how athletes do that. They develop
Yeah.
that through constant repetition. What they're doing is they're developing their subconscious. And it's the same thing with artists and writers. When you get into that creative flow, that zone that people talk about, that's exactly what that is. And that's also a part of what I don't like so much about AI and it being so focused upon as being like this thing that's superior to what people could do and accomplish.
Yeah.
Because you're now taking away an amazing avenue where you enter this state of being and you get into this idea, imagination kind of state, and you start to do things and become truly creative.
Yeah.
And if you are never going to enter into that area, I can't imagine the world where we just have no more creativity for the most part because we've surrendered it to computers and technology.
Sometimes it feels like we're headed that way, but I do feel the pushback, like for instance,
Absolutely.
when all this AI stuff started and I started getting interested in, like, at the same time, it wasn't because of AI, but it's just funny how it all kind of works out. I was already wanting to get back to doing things by hand. And my Instagram feed is filled with all kinds of artists that I admire and like, new and old. And they were all doing digital, just like me, or getting into digital or doing that kind of thing. And so I'm like, I've seen it. I don't know. I'm kind of bored by it. It all looks good, good stuff. But I look at it today. It's all hand done stuff. It's all like photos like this with a pencil posed on a paper. And it's everybody's going back to hand done stuff. You got even guys like Louis LaRosa who have been doing it by hand forever. Amazing. Yep. But he was using like Copic markers. He's now doing ink washes. So it's a small change, but it's already more organic and more pure than the marker. It's just carbon.
It's like anything else. I mean, honestly, I've seen that even happen at Alterna. People go, "Oh, you're so nostalgia obsessed with the newsprint interior." Well, what happens also is we get a lot of these books into the hands of teenagers and 20-somethings who didn't really grow up with newsprint comics.
Yeah.
And they open it up and they're like, what is this? It's a whole new cool thing to them, It's not nostalgia to them because they didn't have any feeling about it growing up. They didn't even grow up with comic books looking that way.
Right.
So I feel it's the same thing that when people are seeing this kind of thing. I mean, look at how many videos that are around where people are drawing or doing something or sewing or they're doing something with their hands and making a craft, and they're mesmerizing. Yeah, and that's inspiring to a whole new generation of people. So hopefully we can use technology to that benefit to get the message of creating with our hands and doing something that way. And I think we are. I think a lot of people are breaking through to that because, like you said, they want us to all think we're kind of isolated and we have no choice in anything and there's no, just surrender and give in to the technology and big tech loves you. But what better way to give big tech the middle finger than to literally do what we're doing right now, where we're on YouTube, big tech, and having Kelsey Shannon make a drawing right here.
That's it, man. That's it. Gosh, can't see it. It's still dark. Got to throw some ink on there. But yeah, we'll keep ourselves entertained. We don't need you. Thanks.
Absolutely. Man, oh man. All right, so we're at the halfway point already. Can you believe that, wow. Kelsey? And if we do need a little more time tonight, because I think we might, do I have you for another half hour to 45 minutes or so?
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Fantastic.
This is pretty much what I was going to do since I couldn't get my face on camera. They're going to draw. I'll get back on camera at some point.
So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a quick break for about a minute. We're going to show some trailers and whatnot for people that are doing stuff out there. And then we're going to get right back to it. You're watching Comic Book Radio. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. Tonight, my guest is Kelsey Shannon. This is episode 33. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back in just a minute.
Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network
with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Make your own stuff. We become the new culture zeitgeist. We become the next thing. The next Flash Gordon, the next Buck Rogers, the next Star Wars, the next Star Trek, the next Doctor Who, the next Harry Potter. That's going to come from us. That's going to come from out here.
Live from the bunker, only on Sci-Fi for Me TV.
All right, we're back.
Love it. I love it. That's just what we were talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. What a great commercial piece to have right at that point in time. Yeah. Thank you guys for sticking with us. I'm here with KELSEY Shannon tonight. We're talking about anything and everything right now, which is great. I love shows like this. He's got a book called Scribbles, which is out right now. This is on Fund My Comic. Layout and Design Works by KELSEY. And this is the part of the show where, and I don't know if you're familiar with this show, KELSEY, but on Comic Book Radio, I invite the guests to also talk to the chat. So the chat here, you guys have a link. If you want to join the show, come on the show one at a time. If you've got a question or comment for our guest, which would be KELSEY Shannon tonight, there's the link. You guys can feel free to hop on in.
I love the chat. Bring it.
Yeah, don't be shy. Don't be shy. So I want to talk a little bit more about this book. Now, you've got this layout and design that you're putting into Scribbles here. So what can people expect out of this book? And also, I know you touched upon a little bit of this earlier, but is there any plan for maybe even a sequel book, depending on how this does? Because I can imagine you've probably got a bunch of different things that are going to inspire you.
This is already done well enough that I'm already considering it part of my business plan, because I'm eager to get to my stories and stuff, but there's a lot of downtime in between where people are waiting on stuff, and I thought this might be a fun way to kind of keep material out there so that I'm not letting too much time pass, but also it's like a peek into the sketches and stuff, the stuff that process people really love, or even just people have never seen it before might really get an interesting look inside. And this, even though this book is 200 pages, I think there is over 20 full comic books that I've worked on that are almost all the layouts in. I've left a few spoilers out just in case anybody's going to get the book later, like Nexus Triplets, for instance. We're the first issue has already been done and is out there, but then we decided we're going to do the rest of the 3 and put it into one book. So it'll be like 3 issues. So the first issue of all the layouts is in this, minus a couple little spoiler things. So I don't, in case anybody wants to get that. But this is like old Archie stuff for the Mighty Crusaders. So I have Josie and the Pussycats in here. Stuff with Graham Nolan for the Two-Fisted Manly Tales. There's Cyberfrog stuff in here. There's just anything and everything. Like I said, like 20 different full comic books, sketches. There's unpublished material, published stuff. I worked on lots of animation stuff from everything from a Wildsiders pitch. I got Anna. I got all my Anna sketches that I've done over the years are going to be in there. That was a T-shirt kind of commemorating one of the first times I was on Jack Show, before it was called Jack Show. Drunk off my ass.
Is that a sticker too?
Oh, it should be. That's a good idea.
It would be a great sticker.
Well, I'm trying to keep this very, very simple because a lot of reasons.
On the next one.
Yeah, I might grow. Like I kind of, I've been doing this for a while. I've been a part of a lot of campaigns, but I've never run one on my own. And also, there's been a lot of issues with people who misuse the funds, and they don't have the money to complete the project. So I very intentionally did the fund mode, I think is what it's called, raise mode. That way, none of this money gets touched until it's all done. Just to kind of create help create confidence in my business, so that when I go forward, like for instance, I would like to ship out the original art that people bought, but I can't do that because I don't have access to any of this money, and it's still in their account. So going forward in the future, I think I'll probably, once I get all the kinks worked out and everybody's very confident in what I'm doing and things are getting distributed and everything's okay, I'll probably do the all or nothing on the next one so that I can go ahead and ship out the ancillary stuff that's not necessary until the very end. I could artwork, maybe even T-shirts, like things like that can be shipped already. But I don't know. I say that now, and I start thinking about the shipping costs on all that. But the artwork comes from me. T-shirt can wait for the book, I guess.
Man, oh man. What do you have? Big pieces of art to ship out?
Yeah. There's like here I can actually share. I
Those
still
are
have
always
it
the
all.
most pain in the butt pieces
No,
to ship.
I do them at a decent size, like at a reasonable size.
Good.
Because like everybody here does 11 by 17. That's kind of their traditional thing.
Is that Monstar from?
Yeah, it is. This
Silverhawks?
is yeah.
Wow.
On the Graybeard show, we've done a lot of different kind of stuff.
That takes me back. Oh, looks like we've got a guest here who wants to talk to you. Somebody
Come on
calling
in.
Hey, Ryan from Lion Mill Studio. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, Pete. Nice talking to you.
Good
Thanks
talking
for
to you
letting me
too.
on.
No problem.
Kelsey, I just wanted to, I didn't have any questions. I just wanted to say that it's a real treat to have you in CG, and I think you are a real artist's artist. So it's a joy to watch you
thank
create. And
Ryan,
I'm
those
really
were literally the words coming in my mind before. Was Kelsey is an artist?
Yeah. It's just it's a real treat to see you draw and see your artwork. And I completely agree with you on the making artwork by hand thing. I've tried doing the digital stuff too, and I still do some stuff digitally, fix things here and there. But man, it's a different beast when you have a piece of paper in front of you. So
look, the way I look at it too about the digital versus hand done, there's nothing wrong. These are all pieces that sold, by the way. I'm gonna ship these all out. They're all about 11 by 14. So yeah, here's another pouty girl. Got 3030 from Marshall Bravestar. But anyway, what I was saying about the digital. You remember when Hollywood was going all digital with the special effects, right?
Yep.
And it's like at first it was like, wow, cool, and then it's so novel, it's new, it's interesting, and then eventually it starts getting stale. We know what it is, it's not really hitting that mark.
It was kind of used sparingly because they couldn't really do too much of it, so it was sort of like, even though some of it wasn't that great, it was like, all right, I get it.
But then you got that backlash by people that are like, I want to have models, I want to have puppets, I want to have all these things that have tangibility. But now they've kind of blended the two, where you have like the best of both worlds. They'll make like a puppet model or something like that, but then they'll accentuate the mouth a little more in digital, and like, so now it has the best of both worlds, and now it looks even more real because it's hard to tell the difference, because it's like that fur looks real because it is real.
Well, that's why I was excited about the new Star Wars trilogy, because that's the first thing that they started talking about. Is like, we're bringing back puppets, we're bringing back costumes, we're bringing back real sets, and then they were going to blend that, and they did. I mean, look great.
They did.
I mean, the movies crap, but they look great. But anyway, I just wanted to pop in and say hi, and thank you very much, Pete, for letting me on. And Kelsey, it's really nice talking to you in real life. So
you too, pal. Great meeting you, Ryan.
All right, thank you very much. I'll talk to you all later.
Have a great night, buddy. Man, speaking of traditional art too, I wish it wasn't so far away on the other side of the room, but Ryan did an amazing. It's got to be. It feels like it's bigger than 11 by 17, but a King Cryptid piece, and he sent it to me. Oh my lord!
Yeah,
it's a beaut. A beaut.
That's another thing. Look at a nice gift you can give to someone. It's a piece of art. It's from the heart. It's better like if somebody sent you like a printout of their digital coloring thing. It's a thing. It means a lot. Thank you for taking the time, but it's like it's something else entirely to get that original piece in the mail. I don't know. Yeah, it's just a kind of a feeling somehow.
Yeah,
tangibility.
Absolutely. It's like what they say about books, how they furnish a home. With me, it's like I can't imagine. I've been over people's houses that they have nothing on the wall. They have no semblance of art whatsoever anywhere, and I'm like, get me out of here, get me out of here. It feels like an asylum. I feel like I'm in like the padded room.
Oh man, I see these kids today. Like we got a couple in this, doing comics, and like I'll see them on live streams, and they'll have nothing on the wall. I'm like, for God's sake, get a poster on that wall. You look like a serial killer.
Yeah.
Put a photo of your mom up there. Do something,
Right? Yeah, I just can't exist that way. I can't. I gotta have everything everywhere. If I had any say on it, every square inch of the place would be completely covered.
Yeah. My place looks like your back wall right now. That's pretty much
beautiful.
how
I love it. I love it. And I'm so glad and grateful the fact that that my wife is on the same board as same page as me with all that, because she feels the same way. If there's like empty space on the wall, it's like, oh my God, that's ugly. You got to fill up that space. You got to put something in there that's great and we can see it. Yeah. So, and if you're out there in the chat and you live in one of these places, we still love you.
Yeah, of course. It's lovingly teasing you. Get some personality up in that joint.
Yeah, I may be a little high anxiety if I came over for 5 minutes or so in the completely empty, walled space.
Get a guitar, put it in the corner. You don't even have to play it; just have it there as something to talk about.
Yeah, something for me to look at and go,
yeah,
this says a lot about this person. I wonder. Let's see. Fritzy Schnitzel has a question. Says, does Kelsey have an idea as to when his campaign for his Shank book will start?
I'm planning on doing it early next year, and I was going to try to do it this year, but I think with everything going on, trying to do the Scribbles campaign, trying to get all the kinks worked out, I did everything the wrong way, and I kind of did it on purpose. I didn't pre-advertise. I kind of talked a little bit about it on my show. I just kind of launched, didn't tell anybody. I just went on to Kings. I don't even think that Ethan, I told him about it, but I don't think he remembered. So it was kind of a surprise. I haven't done a whole lot. I didn't do a video. I haven't done a whole lot of ads. I put one kind of ad on Instagram. But all of these things, I'm cataloging what works for me, what doesn't. It seems like I make sales when I'm out on streams talking about it. You don't make a lot just on its own. I think that I need to do the sign up, which I didn't. I need to have the people knowing that we're coming up on the day that it's going to launch. Get people excited about the launch day. All these little things that everybody knows, everybody does, but I've never really messed with it myself. So everything that I'm doing on this book is being kind of cataloged and figured out, and I'm going into Shank early next year with a lot more emphasis on the sales part of it, like videos. I'll be leading up to it. I'll be doing all the things you should be doing.
I gotta tell you though, Kelsey, because this is your first crowdfunding project, right?
Yeah, my first solo one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And you're doing fulfillment as well?
No, I'm using Critical Blast. He's part of. He works with Fund My Comic. I wouldn't be able to do it without those guys. Those guys have been extremely helpful, and they're looking to expand their business into more of all areas where they do distribution.
Kind of a comprehensive thing.
Yeah, they'll do printing. So I'm like, I want to make use of everything you guys are doing, because it seems like a lot of the bigger names, they might have their system set up. So, but I believe in what they're doing there. So I'm like, if you guys roll out any new thing, you let me know. I don't have a lot to lose as opposed to a lot of those guys. I have very low overhead where I'm at. I keep things very simple, so I can take chances like that. So if I got a new program you want to do, let's do it. I'll put out a book. We can figure it out. Yeah. So on this one, I wanted to basically put myself in their hands. I'm like, let's see how this works. Let's see how you can deal with whatever numbers I get, and it's all still pretty reasonable. But I'm curious where.
What I was going to say is it's very
figures.
It's very smart of you, and Michael Bancroft's on the same page as me. He says Scribbles is the soft launch for Shank. Very smart. And whether you plan that or not, I think that's brilliant. And what
kinda.
It really is, though, and only because of the fact that there's so many times where people they hit the crowdfunding scene, and usually by accident, this will occur when it's the first time that they're doing their own thing. It shoots through the roof. It's huge, they and it's overwhelming. Logistically, they didn't plan for that. They have no idea what to do, and all of a sudden now they have this massive thing, this beast to fulfill. And a lot of the time, more often than not, it's happened, unfortunately, where people put their tail between their legs and run away and never return. So
I've seen it happen a lot.
Yeah, so it's great that you're doing it this way, something that's manageable, something that you said how, it's about building trust and saying, hey, here's something I'm doing, here's something I'm going to put out, and hopefully, everything goes great with it, and it's something you can do, and that it's attainable for you and achievable. And then on your next thing, which is if it's going to be Shank, you can bring out the big guns for that. But it's so
I don't
smart,
dare push
and I
it.
encourage everybody else to do things like that too when it's their first project.
I don't dare push Shank back any further because people are waiting for it, and I thought I was pushing it, putting out a damn sketchbook when everybody's waiting for me to do Shank, but I'm like, it feels like something I have to do. It's like a bit of a closure to this chapter of my life where I was doing work for everyone else but me and my audience, people that care about what I'm working on. And I'm here to entertain those people, specifically the people that want my stuff. So I'm very cautious about what I'm doing and very thoughtful about the timing of it all. But this felt important that I needed to get this done. This closes out with everything else I'm doing this year. I got to finish off the Nexus, and I got a couple little things left to do, and then it's all the KELSEY show. I'm really excited to get to all these stories that I've thought about for years and years and years while working on other people's projects, and I don't know why it's taken me so long. A lot of reasons.
You've been busy.
Well, why? I mean, I could have just gone into comics. Why have I done everybody else's stuff? I could have just started my own thing. But a part of me is like, I didn't want to rush it. I didn't want this to make this feel like, even to myself, that this is just, we got to make money now because it ain't going to last. I'm like, to me, this is the next evolution.
But again, though, KELSEY,
farm to table
realize
comics.
it or not, whether you realize it or not, you're the equivalent of like what they were doing when they made Image. You know what I mean? Like they didn't just go and made Image. If they went and just made Image and they never worked at DC or Marvel, it would have been a very, very different story.
Yeah.
But so
sure.
they built up their audience, they built up their fandom. They proved themselves. They got people that were like, hey, no, I really want to see a lot from this person. And then that's what gave them the value and the initiative to go out there and strike it as independence. So, what you did, whether you realize it or not, is, again, you worked on all these different books. You built up your portfolio, essentially, and your fan base along the way. And then you're going to do your own thing. I mean, that's the right way to do it. So, again, even though you're thinking, maybe I should have, dove into this earlier or whatever. You would not have had the same level of support. You would not have had the same level of people anticipating and looking forward to it and going, hey, when's that thing that you're doing coming out? Because why? Because they love what you've been doing.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
I think it's brilliant.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I did that on purpose. Yes.
Exactly. See?
But I mean, it really is just, I don't know how to emphasize that enough, that I'm not in a rush. Like when I plan on I'm in a rush to get my stories out there. I'm not in a rush for this whole thing to be done. Like, in my opinion, we're just starting. And sometimes that start can take a long time. But in the difference of what Image did and what we're doing is that Image grabbed that cash as fast as they could. They threw out everything they could possibly do. Variant covers, no #1 every freaking month. It was a giant cash grab. And it collapsed within 2 years. I mean, it wasn't even that long. And I'm like, we're building a future that will last because all of us who are here really care about what we're doing. Because, I mean, you have to. You have to care about what you're doing, or you're just not going to last. There's no safety net. There's no, there's not some easy win where you're going to be on everybody's A-list. I mean, maybe if you're like that good, maybe. But also just satisfaction with how the industry is gone. Because when I came in, people were falling over themselves to help me and to tell me where to go and what to do and do this, use this brush, do this technique, go to this guy, he'll give you a job. Here's some phone numbers. Call up Brian Stelfreeze, he'll teach you how to paint. It was totally open, and now it's all closed. Everybody's just xenophobic of one form or another, don't want to talk to anybody, or they're, and I'm like, where is the industry that I grew up in?
Isn't it so inclusive, Kelsey?
No.
Don't you feel the inclusion?
No. Well, I mean, it was hard for me because I was already in, so I had no idea any of this was going on. Yeah. But then I started kind of getting a clue, and I was already wondering, why is it that I'm doing the best work of my career and nobody's looking? And they're all, because there's something else going on, and I made a point to myself that when I finally decided that comics was my thing, I was always kind of sitting on comics as a stepping stone, like a lot of people. Yep. And especially, I think the industry is filled with them. The stepping stone to get to Netflix or whatever the hell.
The industry is so volatile.
Right. But I made it a point, and oddly enough, it came from a few different places. One of them was Alan Moore. Alan Moore said, I was always like, God, you're crazy not to take that Hollywood money. You're crazy, like everybody else was saying. But then he mentioned something, that he's interested in comics as an art form. And he's not interested in making comics that can exist as film. He wants to make comics that can only exist as a comic book. And I found that kind of admirable. And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, we're putting limitations on ourselves so that it could be easily translated to film.
Yep.
And it's like, we have no limitations.
You're giving your comic a film budget, and usually a very small film budget. So this way a producer can see it and go, oh, this will be easy to adapt, But instead, what we should be doing with comics is make the craziest, most impossible comic you can, throw everything into there and go all out. The design, the character development, the world, all of that. And let them sort it out if they're going to sign you a big fat check for a film.
Exactly.
Let them, and if anything, though, but you got to give them the big slab of marble, don't dwindle the marble down to make the David or the Pietà or whatever it is you're making, and then have the producer come along, because they're going to come along and they're going to start chiseling away at this masterpiece. And it's going to be reduced to rubble, and you're going to look at it and go, what the hell did you do to this master? It was fine the way it was. And there's so many people out there approaching it the wrong way, and I'm not saying that you go and you give them a blank slate. What I'm saying is you actually give them a lot to work with. Let them edit it down. Let them find a way to adapt it.
Like I'm of the opinion now that I'm like, if you want to make a movie out of my stuff, it's not only going to cost you for the rights to it, but you're going to have to put out a pretty penny to even make it work, because there is no budget. I mean, the stuff that I want to do,
let them sweat it out, figure
epic.
it out.
Yeah, exactly. We need comics to have some balls again,
Force them to be creative with it, of how are we going to adapt that one and make it so we can put it under budget, make it look great, and have it still be just as fascinating. Let them figure that out.
I want at least 5 producers to get fired trying to make my movie.
They're gonna have to hire 4 or 5 different sets of screenwriters to come along, and and then a script doctor on top of it, and let them worry about that. You make the greatest comic you can make. Oh man, on the last round of submissions that I was doing earlier in the year, and I just decided, you know what, I can't do this anymore. After 17 years, I'm closing down submissions. I had it in there because I was so sick to death last year in particular of seeing so many people sell me the future film version of this comic.
yeah.
That they're screenwriters, and I'll make this comic and I get connections into Hollywood and this producer and then it's going to be a big movie, and I don't give a crap about that. I want to hear you sell me on how much you're going to razzle dazzle the comic book reader. The greatest comic that you're going to make. I want to hear how much you're going to do this amazing comic book story that's going to really be so entertaining and meaningful to the reader that reads it, not to some producer out in Hollywood. So to see so many people come across with that kind of, this weird little, I'm gonna try to blow smoke up your butt kind of a thing in the submissions. I put it right in there in the submissions on the next go around, and I said, you want to entertain and impress the reader, not a producer. We're not here making comics for Hollywood producers. We're making comics for comic book readers. And the fact that I still got people that were sending me those kinds of things within the pitch, I couldn't do it. So it's indefinite at this point in terms of shutting down submissions. But to me, I also view it as the reason I'm getting more and more people that are like that. The reason I'm getting more people that are so inclined towards the Hollywood angle or whatever other angle is because the people that are like yourself out there, the people that I would want to have and have submissions come through, they don't necessarily need a publisher. And I didn't need a publisher. I started Alterna to kind of have a collective of people that we could all have strength in numbers. And at that point in time, in 2006, it was kind of necessary. But nowadays, you have that drive, that determination, you're motivated, go and seize the day. Put up a crowdfunder, put up your own website, get things going with social media, and go for it.
I would publish through Alterna in a heartbeat. I mean, seriously, I love what you do.
I'll be awaiting that DM or email from
you. Okay, hey, we'll get something going because I love what you do. I don't think you probably don't understand the admiration that I have for you. I don't know if anybody does, but to me, like the independent publisher is a special person. And often people ask me about Pete
I've
Samedi.
Been called a special person.
I'm like, people can't. You remind me of a lot of. I've had the benefit of knowing a few indie publishers and people, not just people that publish their own work. I mean, publish other people's work, and that you actually have a publishing business where you publish a lot of people. You're a publisher, and that's a different cat than your average comic book guy. So you approach things in a very particular way through experience, through probably being burned a lot. And that hardens you and it makes you kind of no bullshit. And I really appreciate those kinds of people. So if I ask you a question, you're not gonna be blowing a bunch of sunshine up my bum. You're gonna give me the hard truth. And that is so rare to find these days. So I value that kind of thing highly.
Well,
especially in a publisher, because I know that if I come in with a bunch of great ideas, and I had this happen. I used to work with Antarctic Press a lot, and they did the same thing because they've been doing it for years and years and years and years. They've heard it all. So I come in, I'm like, what if we do this? And they were like, done it, doesn't work, and it used to drive me crazy. Why don't you just try things? But then, with age comes wisdom, time, I've seen. I understand a lot more of that now. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, it's amazing what happens in a year. You probably go through the gauntlet of different kinds of things in a year. Lots of experience.
Absolutely, yeah. And when you're out there, especially if you're an up and coming creator, things hit you faster than ever before nowadays. That experience, you can have someone doing this for 2 or 3 years and they've got the experience of someone from 20 years ago that was doing it for 10 years. So you're getting hit with a lot of stuff really fast and you have to adapt, and those punches come fast and furious. Every day you're getting in the ring with a young Mike Tyson who's going to destroy you. And then you got to learn, and you're not going to be able to hit him. You just got to learn how to dodge.
Yeah.
So that's what it's like the first 3 to 5 years when you're making whatever it is you're making in comics. And then afterwards, you start building up, You get you work on your footwork first, and then you start building up the ability to hit. But first you're gonna get hit, and you're gonna try to dodge, and that's just what it's gonna be like. But learn from that, and if you do learn from it, and the people that do, those 5 to 10 years after the first 5, it's a lot better, and you always see it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of at this point now where I've done this for so long now. I think I'm coming up on like 30 years in comic books. I think I've done it for like 27, 28 years of making comic books, and I've been through all the emotions, the ups and downs, and nowadays I'm just trying to enjoy myself, and I'm not trying to I know that things have to be done in a timely manner. I know I'm leaving money on the table. I know that I can go to Indiegogo or Kickstarter. I know that I can go get published at any mainstream company or whatever. It's just I'm finally at that point in my life where I want to enjoy what the hell I'm doing. So I'm going to be doing things at a very deliberate pace. Yeah, I'm going to be doing things at a very deliberate pace. And it's going to be the best work that I could possibly do. And I want to spend time with the comic book fan. Not even just my fans. I mean the comic book fan. I think it's very important for us to reconnect with the people that actually want to like this stuff. They want to like it. They want to like us. We just have to be there for them. That's all.
To me, you're the perfect combination of what someone needs to be an entertainer, because you do the things that bring you joy, and what brings you joy brings others joy.
Yeah,
and that's the sweet spot. You get so many times, so many people that it's a selfishness, it's a narcissism where they just want to do things that rub them the right way. Yeah. To hell with everybody else. That's not really that successful. And then you do things the other way around where you're miserable, but you're like, this sells and it makes people happy, so I guess I'll do it. And that's not going to last very long either. You get burnt out. But when you find that sweet spot where you're doing things that bring you joy, and the joy that you get is by entertaining other people and bringing value to them, that's when you got the right recipe, formula, whatever it may be.
Yeah. And honestly, everybody was telling me, oh, your book's going to do 6 figures. Your book's going to, I'm like, it's a sketchbook, guys. It's okay. And I'm like, I know a lot of people have high hopes for what I'm doing. And I'm like, relax, I'm much more, I know what it's probably going to do, and I'm fine with it. I'm in the process of building. So we're going to start small. Shank will be a much bigger campaign. There'll be a lot more pages. It'll be story driven and character driven. It's going to be different than a sketchbook. And then I'll follow that up probably with another sketchbook, but leveled up from this one. It might be an actual art book with some of my paintings in it, things like that. I don't know. Then we'll go to another book where I'll probably try to get a little more ambitious with it, little things, learning things along the way. But I don't want to I see this happen with coloring and everything else where they outpace themselves as far as the artwork goes, or the coloring now takes forever because it's basically painted, and it's okay, now I just kind of want to get my system
heavy
down.
Lifting.
Yeah, and I just want to do just set up my system, set up artwork that I'm happy about, everybody else is people that are interested in my stuff are happy with, and then we can just make comics for a while. Let's just make comics for a while. Let's just read comics. Let's just have some fun and not worry about, all the non-important crap, and I don't know. That's I don't even know how to put it into words exactly.
That stuff is always going to be there. That's why you have to have that mindset that you're talking about, where you remember at the end of the day why you're doing this. And sometimes when those slings and arrows come, and they're going to come, you get through it because of the love of what you have for not just the comic, not just the storytelling, but also with getting it out there into the world and having that relationship with the reader who is enjoying the hard work you've put into it. There's nothing like it.
Oh man, it's the best. And getting the reviews in, which we need more reviews. We need more people putting it out there, good or bad, because
the conversation is so important.
Dude, I was doing Nora's Saga, and I was feeling like something was wrong. And then Well-Read User and those guys did a hard review of it, where they liked a lot of stuff. But then they got into the nitty gritty, and I'm like, I knew exactly what they were talking about because I was feeling the same way. And then that righted the ship. I think it came out a lot better than where it was headed because of the criticism, and because I didn't bristle at it. I accepted it, and that's a large part of what we're doing here. Is the whole criticism part has been ignored, or they want to cancel you for saying your book wasn't that good, and maybe you can improve it, this, that, and the other. And they're like, oh, what do you know? And I'm like, no, that's all part of it. That's all part of this whole thing. I mean, fans have to be vocal. That's the way it's always been. I used to read letters columns. They were brutal.
And those are the ones they published.
I know.
So imagine the ones they didn't.
So it's confusing to me now, this attitude about criticism, when I'm like, the comic book fan, or the fan in general, is one of the most critical. But that's because they love it so much, and they want it to be as good as it can be. So you got to listen.
They care. If they didn't care, I mean, it's the same thing. I don't know if you're a sports fan at all, but it's the same kind of thing with a lot of different teams and a lot of different things. You could love your team to death, but guess what? The more you love that team, the more when they have an off night, hell, are you pissed off?
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
And that's what comic books, that's what entertainment and storytelling in general need. You need the fire of the sports fan. Who like, you live and die with that team. When they have a great night, whoo, man, you're high off of that. And when they don't, oh man, look out. But Jetto Jaga says, Pete, can you tell Kelsey to promote his campaign on his Twitter and pin the tweet?
Yeah.
So there you go.
I got to do the Twitter. I've been neglecting
bit of love
that.
from the chat.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I need to. They keep me in line. The chat. I get a lot. There's a lot of times I can't remember what the hell I'm talking about. The chat remembers. The chat's like my brain, the better part of my brain, the right side of my brain.
They're like a great assistant, It's like, remember that thing that time with that, and you're like, oh my lord, yes.
No, that's the thing. I'll go, who's that guy in that movie? And they'll say Brad Pitt. I'm like, that's all the clue I gave them, and they know exactly who I'm talking about. I don't, because they're so in tune with what we're talking about, and I love it. I just love it. It's just the best.
Michael Deach, thank you so much for the super chat. It says Kelsey's a treasure. His art speaks for itself. Plus, he's so damn likable and down to earth. Now, Michael wrote "darn," but I'm gonna say "damn" because it's a little bit more emphasis. I just want to find him at the bar and buy him a whiskey.
All right,
I agree.
I'm down. I'll be in Tampa. You come visit me in Tampa. I'm doing that convention at the end of the month, I think.
Oh,
yep.
Fantastic.
That's gonna be the first convention I've been to in a long time, and I'm pretty excited because
I hope it does great for you. Is that the one that Bancroft is going to be at too?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, he's coming in from Australia. I definitely got to see Bancroft. I mean, when's the next time this guy's going to be in the States? So I got to come. Next time I see Bancroft, I'm going to be in Australia. That's my promise to Bancroft.
There you go.
He made the long journey to come here. I could do that for him. I'll go to Australia. Get your couch ready. I'll sleep on your couch.
Australia's got to have conventions, right? I mean, they gotta.
Surely.
I'm not too familiar, but they gotta.
Well, they seem to have a lot of comic book people because most of them are here.
Yeah. Metatron's Cube says, who is the stereo head guy that you're drawing?
Oh, I have no idea. It was just like a random... Like, I love Fooly Cooley, FLCL from anime. He's got the TV head. There was always some guy with a head thing on. And, I was just drawing random doodles one day, and I drew this chick at a bar that I saw, bartender. She was so cute. Had, like, tattoos and, like, just her whole visual. I was like, she's great. And then, I don't know what his deal is. Just drew, like, a guy with the head thing. And there's, like, a little Shih Tzu, because I used to take care of a little Shih Tzu dog. So it's just random.
I love it.
Yeah, just having fun. But it's an experiment also, because I'm wanting to do flat color. Like, I'm using these, like, Bombay inks, because they won't cover the ink work. The ink will still be dark.
What kind of base is that? Do you know? Is that a water-based ink?
Gosh, man, let me see. Light fast water.
Or is it like pigment?
Pigma indie ink. So yeah, this is
good stuff.
Yeah, you think this is better than what's the other one?
I would-
Alcohol based?
Well, alcohol-based is pretty good too, but water-based, I always find anything water-based, even markers, they'll make the paper warp like crazy because as it dries, it sucks up the paper fiber because it's organic fiber. So think of it the same way as you put a wet sweater, a wet cotton sweater into the dryer for a little too long and a little too high heat. What happens is the thing shrinks. It's the same thing that happens in printing when they dry the paper stock too fast when the ink is on there, and you get that warping and waving sometimes in paper. That's happening from that. And the same thing occurs with when you're drawing and it starts to evaporate. It pulls in the paper fiber and they shrink together and it'll warp the paper. But on alcohol-based pigment, it's it's nowhere near the level of water-based.
Yeah, you still like even this whichever, where did it go? The this little girly one that I did with the couch. I don't remember where I did with it, but whatever. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So like this, like when when I add too much water, like it started picking up the pulp of the paper a little bit, and like right on the face where the worst place for it to be. But once it dried, it kind of went down, and then when I did it again, the pulp it's like already the paper has been unraveled at that point. So there's nothing I could do about that spot. Every time I wet it down, it's gonna pulp up. But I noticed that if I didn't scrub too much, if I just laid on a smooth tone of color, and then I went over it the same way, every time you add a layer, it like adds to the surface of the paper. So like the headband came out great where I started off with just a light tone, and then I just kept building upon it. And eventually now it's like, this is ink surface, not paper surface. So like every time I added a layer to it, it almost strengthened the paper. But
it's almost like a giclée,
Yeah, in a weird way. It's a trip. I mean, I gotta tell you, the inks are unforgiving, totally, but rewarding if you can pull it off. Because like I'm looking at this, I'm like, this looks like I did it in the Photoshop. On some level,
that looks like you printed it out.
Yeah, but it's by hand. I mean, it's you can see it when you do it in the light. You can see all the brush strokes in there.
And you said that piece is sold?
No, I'm gonna sell this one. I will put it up on the campaign.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of these are just I'm experimenting and getting ready for Shank, but also having some fun. And a lot of people seem to be really enjoying the real art. And I tell people, look, I'm not one of those artists that like want you to hang on to it for life and cherish it like it's your firstborn. If you can sell this for twice the money, do it. Because like as time goes by, I can sell it for a higher amount because it's worth more, because people keep reselling it for more money. Your ultimate value will go up. It is a bit of a selfish reason, but it's also like, hey, if you can make money off of it, go for it. You're not gonna hear me complaining.
Dude, you're speaking my language. Every single time I see comic artists that are freaking out because something sold on eBay or whatever, and they signed it, and I'm like, you can sign anything right now. You know that, right? You can sign that, put up an eBay account. You can even make it relatively anonymous, have a P.O. box, and don't put your name out there, and all these other things. And you can just go sign and sell stuff on eBay. Yeah. You're aware, right? You could do that. You don't have to, I'm going to charge $100 a signature or something stupid. I've seen people charge stupid prices for signatures and all that kind of stuff because they're like, well, because of eBay, the eBay people.
Well, that's because people aren't thinking about tomorrow. They're just thinking about today, and it's like everything I'm doing, with the going to a different crowdfunding platform with Fund My Comic, doing just all these little things are more about building a more stable future for myself rather than just getting paid now, and it's like, I need something for when I'm an old man, if there's no comic book industry that's healthy enough, then I'm gonna be an old guy working at McDonald's, or whatever, or doing something I'm not happy with.
That's what's so great. Just the other night, I was talking to Dan Lawless about this, and we were talking about how so many people have nothing physical, no thumbnails, everything is digital. They work right on the computer, and those people, when they get older, you know, they could have turned to the thousands of pieces of paper they had to go, wow, you know, look at all this stuff, and some of it's probably going to be worth a pretty penny.
Yeah.
You know, chances are, and instead now they don't have any of that, and every single thing is, you know, that's I view every single piece of that original art when an artist is doing a book or whatever it is, that's your retirement fund that you're building up right there. You know, if you're doing this for the long term, I mean, in 30, 40 years, Kelsey, you keep it up, you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna get bigger and better, and then, you know, you got this pile of, even if it's just like you're doing right now, process and layouts and all that kind of stuff, it's incredible work, and someone's going to want that, and instead you might not have had that because you did everything digitally, and you're going to go, well, I guess you got the book you could buy, you know, but that's about it.
Yeah, that weighed on me pretty heavily at some point where, I was thinking of that same thing, you know, where I just, you know, if everything collapsed tomorrow, if there was an EMP, if aliens came back, you know, there's nothing of me that will last into the future. I mean, the artists back in the day used to carve in stone, and that stuff is still here. You know, and I have no
solar flare wipes out your hard drive, and there you are. That was all
possible. It's possible. Gone. So I tried to leave something. You know, I don't know if paper will last that long. You know, oils seem to on canvas, you know, the old ways, that kind of thing. So I don't know. Maybe it's
paper will outlive us, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be around for generations to come.
But don't get me wrong, I'm still obsessed with print. You know, to me it's like this is still process art. This is still a means to an end. I enjoy this. I love it. It can work as an art amongst itself. But man, once you see your work in print, you're flipping through it, you smell it, you see it on the shelf at the store. It's the best. It's the best. I am like hooked. I'm addicted to print.
Yeah, it's all part of it. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. All right, so Kelsey, we're at the 1 hour and 18-minute mark. We're doing overtime tonight. We usually just go an hour. I'll go about 5 more minutes, and I'm putting in this link for you guys one more time. If you guys do want to pop in for just a second and say hello to Kelsey, if you got a question or comment for him, feel free.
Don't be scared. Come on.
So the last 5 minutes, let's sell.
Oh yeah,
Scribbles, Layout and Design Works by Kelsey. So this is on Fund My Comic right now. I'm going to give it a quick refresh in case there were any backers. I think they work like that with the refresh. So nothing yet. Everyone's they're enthralled with the conversation is what's happening. They'll back after the show, or maybe they've already backed.
I've often thought, that maybe because I see a lot of familiar faces. My homie, Citizen Ronan Dilly. I see a lot of my people in this house, man. Jose. I see him, but I often feel that like this is a pretty boutique item, and I figure that the audience might be fairly limited for who are really interested in this stuff. So like I might have capped out. I'm going to try to get it to like where are we at, 260. And be nice to get like up to 20 grand. So I don't know how many people that would be. But like I like nice round numbers. 15's little, it's not bad.
I think you'll definitely hit at least 300 backers. There's no way you're not getting 39 more in the next 16 days. You're definitely going to get 300.
All right. Yeah, I like that. I like a nice round number. 300 would be cool. And you know, this is, like I said, it's a boutique item. Not, you know, maybe as I do my own thing and I put out sketchbooks that are specific to that thing that people love, that might be more successful. Right now, this is kind of random. It's a lot of different artwork from the last 10 years, I guess, rolled into one. I am going to have commentary and stuff. People were convincing me that I need to be talking about the stuff in the book. So I'll give a little commentary about what these projects are, and like, you know, like that's Sherlock Ninja, which was done at Antarctic Press, and Sherlock Holmes if he was a ninja. So I mean, nobody would know what the hell that piece was if I didn't say that. So I got to say some of this stuff. I don't know. I don't know.
Great stuff in here.
I don't know if I've capped out, you know, at how many people really want this stuff, but I'm more than thrilled by who has participated in this, who is helping to produce this book, I want to make it as good as it can be, and this is definitely helping pave the way for my more substantial projects in the future. So, please, if you're interested, if you're on the fence, please give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. There's a lot of great stuff in this. Like it's thousands of images.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Citizen Ronan backed it within the first 5 minutes.
See,
there you go. There you go. Let's see. Metatron says he's going to get one soon. Micra's already backed it.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm actually, I was going to do just the 30 days to make it a limited thing, but somebody in my chat, they might be here, I forget their name. I had to go back and watch my video because I want to remember who they are. I haven't even gone to Instagram to get it, but they showed me that that there's a QR code where people can scan it and go directly to the page. And I thought, well, shoot, this was going to end right when I was going to that convention. Maybe I need to extend it another 30 days. Get cards kind of printed up and hand them at cons. So all they have to do is scan the QR code, go straight to the site, and pick up a copy.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to kind of see how that business part of it works. If that works out well, I'll put convention going into my repertoire, and try to hit a few every year, and bring books, or at least do that QR code thing. That was brilliant. That changed my whole perspective. I'm like, QR code? What is that?
yeah. No, I mean, man, there's so many things now with that. It's absolutely do that, man. That would be great. I think that would work out. All right, so we have a guest right now joining us as well. Someone from the chat. We got XRD. What's up?
Hello.
Thanks for joining the show. Hey.
Hi. I feel very
exposed.
Nervous, exposed, especially talking with you and the great Peter Samedi.
Here, let me rub your shoulders. Relax.
Hey, you're just talking to two dudes that live in the mountains, is all.
That's right.
Don't worry about it. What's your question or comment for Kelsey?
My question is, you said that you've worked a lot with other properties or doing different things in the industry, and I myself have been thinking about making a comic, but a lot of people have been telling me that it's probably not even worth it to do this comic, because the whole idea it's an idea that everyone said couldn't work or couldn't be feasible. So I wanted to know about your experiences with pitches that you've made that publishers were just like it's not gonna work, or we've done it before and stuff like that.
Well, everybody's going to tell you that you can't do it, no matter what it is. I'm painting with cheap paints on crappy paper. They're like, you can't do that. I did it anyway, and make it happen. It's all about
do it for spite.
Do it, yeah. Do it for spite. No. Seriously though, if it's something you have a passion for, something you have a vision for, then don't let anybody discourage you about it. You figure out a way to do it, and if they're trying to tell you on a financial level, I mean, don't quit your day job to do your book. You gotta be smart about your business. So,
yeah.
But there's nothing to say you can't just do it on the side, put it out eventually. It does well, it doesn't do well. I don't know. Either way, you've learned from the experience, and you have a book in your hand that you can be proud of. And then you learn and you do better on the next one. You develop an audience. You start catering to that audience. So don't let anybody tell you can't do something.
The biggest thing you got to do and I'm guessing, is this your first comic that you're going to be putting out and working on?
I would say my first professional aim comic, I suppose. I mean, I've done comics as a kid. I've written a lot of stuff that has never seen the light of day.
This is like the first one that you're going to put in front of people and say, would you like to purchase this comic?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it would be. Yeah, it's more so to get my name out there. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the New Warriors.
Yeah.
And I never liked the whole idea about how everyone said that the concept was so irredeemably bad, and I live by the philosophy that no idea is bad. It's who's pulling the trigger that can make it work.
Yeah.
So I've been discussing how I would make those characters work with as little changes as possible, like as close to the horrible idea that everybody says it is. And I kind of wanted to make it to prove a point, but everyone I bring it to, they're just like, why would you want to do that? These characters are dead. Just go make your own original IP or.
Oh, okay. That's a little different.
That's different.
Yeah. So I kind of want to use those characters, since they're kind of abandoned, right?
Not
you
gotta be careful.
Yeah. So
you gotta be very careful with that.
It's not to be sold. It's
parody it.
It's not.
Want.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's not to be sold. They're in a position right now where they will squash you like a little bug.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful with that, and you're gonna be putting a lot of time and money and energy into that. Now, if you want to take that as somewhat of an inspiration and do like your own take on it with characters that are of a similar nature, then by all means. But if you're out there and you're like looking at it and going, well, it's like fan fiction, so I could put that out there and that'll be what it is. The thing is that with fan fiction, most of the time they're not putting anything near the level of commitment you're sounding like you're going to put into it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be perceived as a thing that is potentially, possibly, and this is how they sue people on the basis of this, is that it might cause market confusion. Yeah. And if you start doing something like that where they can perceive it in that way, you're going to get a cease and desist almost immediately as soon as they sniff the wind of that. So I would definitely say, just for your own sake, do something that's inspired by, and you totally can. You absolutely can do that, and run with it, but don't go in there and say, well, they were a failure over there, so I'm going to kind of take those characters and see what I can do with them. That's going down a different road.
Yeah, that is kind of different than what we were saying. You could do anything you want. Don't let them tell you no. But when it's somebody else's character, and you're going to be spending a lot of time and effort and money on something that you can own, and probably they'll squash you and won't even let it see the light of day, it could be a lot of more trouble than it's worth.
Especially
definitely,
if, heaven forbid, you actually do it really well.
Yeah,
you're gonna really piss them off, and then you also just put in time and effort into something that if you didn't, they were your own characters, and you did it well, and people love it, then you could do something with it.
Yeah.
But now you really can't, and now all it is just a big legal nightmare for you.
I see.
Yeah, so be careful.
Yeah, it's just a kind of like, I understand where you're coming from. I'd love to have like my take on various things too, but I don't know. There's like a thing with like the Star Wars fan films. They always like bug me because I'm like, yeah, I like what you did there. That would make a great movie, but you spend a lot of time and money on something that you can't really do anything with. If you'd put all that energy and time and money into something that you do own, then you could really go places. Because there was a guy named Sandy Calora.
Yup, with the Batman Dead End.
You know him?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Dude, I love this guy. But he can't get anything happening because they view him as a fan film guy.
Yep.
But I think he's a brilliant director. I've seen his other film, the one with the alien guys lost on the planet,
Yeah.
Freaking great. But because he did this Batman fan film first.
And it was incredible.
Doesn't matter. They still view him as a guy that does fan films, So, yeah, it's a perception thing as well. You definitely want to go out on your best foot forward,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think ultimately what made me think to use those characters specifically, not necessarily use the universe, because, like, of course, I couldn't. I was thinking about those people specifically and probably just, cutting them out and putting them somewhere else, is the fact that they never released the comic. It seemed like it was completely abandoned, and I'm just like, okay, so it's completely abandoned. No one's using it. It's been the laughing stock of the internet. But I really think that the whole concept itself is possible to be done, to be told at a really well character-driven story. And I mean, like, honestly, the whole issue about comics to begin with. Like, I would never be here if it wasn't for Peter, and his, drive and passion. Like, I was just like, whoa, man. Like, I totally want to join up and be part of Alterna, but like, I've never actually had anything to show, so I was just like, let me at least.
What you could do here, you could do that for yourself. If you want to have fun and have fun in that sandbox for yourself and make something for yourself to prove that you can make a comic and do it and whatever, that's great. I'd absolutely encourage that. But it's when you're taking it to that next level and you're kind of going to be putting it out there, and especially if you're even going to think about trying to sell it or anything on that line whatsoever. Or if you're going to hire other people, I don't know how you'd be going about it to create it, if you're going to do everything or whatever. But there's always, like Kelsey was talking about before, there's always something to get from it because it's a learning experience. So even if you make your creator-owned thing and it's your own unique characters and it's your own kind of story, even if you've got your influences and you're wearing them on your sleeve, which a lot of people still do, and there's veterans in the industry that still wear their influences on their sleeve, and it doesn't really do much harm to them. You're still going to be putting something out there that you can build off of and learn from. But if you're doing something and you're putting in all this time and energy and it's going to potentially lead you not just nowhere, but actually possibly hurt you and then discourage you from wanting to create further, I'm always going to say, look, I see you walking in front of that bus. I'm going to have to yank you back a bit. Hopefully when I yank you back and I let you go, you don't walk in front of that bus again anyway. But I've got no control past that first get you out of the way. I'm like, okay, good, you're on your way. All right, you take it easy. Now if I go up the block and I turn around and I saw you walked in front of that damn bus anyway, it's like, oh well, I tried.
I mean, I'd love to see if you did take all that passion and ideas and do something what you're trying to achieve, or what you think is achievable on that with your own thing. I mean, that's the same thing. Otherwise you could just do some fan art and put it online, but if you got a real good idea of how that could work, you can work it into your own thing. I mean, my stuff is derivative of hundreds of different things floating through my head from various comic books, films, video games, all these ideas that either weren't done great or I really loved it and I just want more of it. All get thrown into my own mix and to make something new that I do own,
Yeah. I think the next you mentioned that stuff. I think my next question would be, I've actually just finished running through the entire series of the 90s Spider-Man, and I'm running through the entire series of
which one, comic or animated?
The animated series.
Okay.
And as well as the 90s animated series of the X-Men, simply because I had bought the entire first run of Tinseltown, and I noticed that they had stories that started, ended. It was start, middle, end in each issue. However, it was an overarching situation. Yeah. So I was wondering, do you look more to comics to learn that framework, or do you look more to animation or film to learn that framework, or do you a combination of both?
For me, it's a combination of both, and it depends upon the comic, especially the time period, because comics left largely that kind of storytelling, episodic style, probably around, I'd say, like truly started really leaving it probably around the mid-90s. Yeah. And it became like big event after big event. And now there were big events, of course, before that, but there was still largely, you could pick up a lot of comics and get something out of that issue. So I look mostly towards 70s and 80s comics, and then towards the tail end of the 80s into the early 90s. There's some really great stuff there, but then it starts to kind of fizzle out a bit and go more into that big time event-driven storytelling. And you lose, I think, that organic world building. Now, with the animated series, it's truly episodic. And that's what I never understood, is that they nail it with Batman, with Spider-Man, with X-Men, with Superman, with Justice League, and it goes on and on and on. Static Shock. It goes on and on with them nailing the episodic storytelling. And then you go into the 80s and you're talking about Thundercats and Real Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and the list goes on and on. The episodic storytelling style is there. And it's beautiful when they really hit the nail on the head and they have these kinds of stories where things happen in that story, that specific episode, but they don't have characters that experience amnesia. So in episodes to come, if Wolverine sees Sabretooth again, episodes down the line, he remembers and knows what they went through before. But there are some shows and some comics sometimes where it feels like you guys should be a little bit more heated. You should have that memory of like the stuff happened, but it's always good when you have that continuity. So it's a mix of both, but it depends what time period you're talking about, because everything entertainment style, even in television, went really hard towards event-driven as well, along with comic books. I think we're starting to kind of come around again, but at the same time, it's not, for me anyway, happening as fast as I'd like it to be. But truth be told, I'm turned off of TV completely because of
I love it when it's both. When it's a self-contained story that I can enjoy right there, but there is a building overall of character. I love it when they can do both successfully. It's so fun. It makes it worth watching.
It's like life, life. Every day is a new episode, a new issue. And then at the end of your life, you have the overarching plot, the event that was your life.
I just bought today. I don't know what this is because, like I said, I'm kind of really new to the medium of comics specifically. Like, I grew up reading manga, and my best friend. I forget the name of it. My best friend, when I was like 3, he used to read. It's not called manga. It was a Korean kind of
manhwa
book.
Yeah,
manhwa. Yeah, so that was my first introduction. But I just bought X-Men #1. But I don't know what that is. It has like a cover. It's done by Jim Lee. It has Magneto on the cover. And then X-Men #2. So would that be a good era to look into? Because I also have that, and I have the full run of Maximum Carnage. I just kind of started running around looking for stuff.
I've heard that and Venom are actually really good. I never read those, but I've heard a lot of people say that Venom was good, and a lot of fans of Carnage. But I've never actually read any of that. Have you read that stuff, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Maximum Carnage back in the day, but then I felt like they blew their load big time on that. And it felt like, well, now what do you do with Carnage? Afterwards I felt like
too good.
But as a storyline, I felt like it was good. It's pretty good across the board with the Spider-Man titles. Venom Lethal Protector, I liked that first series that he had. The other ones I didn't really care too much for. And then the X-Men Jim Lee stuff with Claremont, and then John Burns involved too. I think.
Well, those were a lot of fun.
Those were fun, but if you're really trying to reference
good story,
great, solid, episodic storytelling, I would say try to look more towards right in the thick of the Bronze Age, the 70s to the 80s.
Okay.
Maybe at the most flirting with like 89, 90.
Okay.
But I'd say maybe like 76, 77 to like 89, 90.
What do you think about Claremont Byrne, that whole run? That was like before...
I mean, that's...
A lot of people swear by that stuff.
Yeah, if you want to pick up the essentials, because I'm trying to pick stuff that you could find in a back issue bin, maybe for $1 a piece. The Claremont Byrne issues are a little bit tougher to come by on that. But yeah, that's a good one.
I saw that one
Claremont
today.
Byrne is definitive.
This is the whole saga. What's her name? Do you remember Comic Book Girl 13 or whatever her name is? Danica? She does this whole thing. If you look her up on the YouTube, she does a whole thing about X-Men and like the whole journey of it to see. I mean, she goes through it in such a way that I'm like, I want to read that stuff. I've never read that stuff before, but you make it sound like so much fun and so interesting with the saga of how she became Dark Phoenix and all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know all that because I've been in comics for so long, but I've never actually read it. And man, yeah, from what I heard, it's like so thick with character and events and story.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like, maybe I need to get into some of that stuff.
I had the Dark Phoenix trade with the Sinkovich cover, and I read that thing as a kid to the point that I still have it, but there's pages missing. The binding was that old glue that, you know, the cover's detached. There's pages that are missing. Like, and then when I was a kid, I traded. It was the best trade of my life. This kid had it, and it was at lunch, and I traded like a pizza on a Friday. The Dark Phoenix Saga trade.
Dude, good trade.
Nice.
I was like, score.
Yeah, no,
I still have it. It's in shambles, but I'm not getting rid of it. I still have it.
Oh, nice.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, if you're just getting into this, I've been in this for, you know, interested in comics for, I guess, it's been like 30 years, I guess. When I was just getting into high school, that's when, you know, right before the Image boom. And I became obsessed to the point where I'm like looking at like Africa to find their comics, you know, like I'm digging far and wide for every kind of comic I can find. And I have yet to find the end of it. I just got a stack from my uncle who like bought this giant a lot of comics, and he was like, I was looking through it to see if there's anything you want. I'm like, you have no idea about comics. What are you possibly going to send me? I know there's so much. There's like X-Men #1 by Jim Lee. I'm like, cool, that's a good one. But then there's all these other ones I've never even heard of in my life. I've never hit the bottom of how many comics there are. So there's some gems out there that I don't think any of us have even discovered yet.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I go deep diving into the dollar bins and whatnot by me, we got 3 stores that do dollar bins really well. And one of them has a 50-cent bin, and we've got at least 30,000 to 40,000 comics. And every single time, and it refreshes like every month.
Oh my God, what is this? I gotta do this.
Yeah, I comb through those, and I walk away with like 70 comics for $35, and I'm just looking at covers and going, yeah, that looks great, that sounds good.
Yeah.
You know, let's get that. And
Nice.
everyone that's out there that's always like, oh, you know, there's nothing with this and there's that and there's whatever. I'm like, you're not reading comics.
Yeah.
You're not going out there and looking. You're seeing what's on the new release wall, maybe.
Well,
And
not
then
to
that's
mention,
your entirety of, you know, that's the comics that exist. And it's just
I mean,
not true.
You started in manga, so you already have like an idea of like where things are. But when you get into like the European stuff, they have sci-fi, they have fantasy, they have historical epics that are actually like you could probably read it and learn something about history in it. They're so thorough. I mean, there's so many different
classics
comics.
Illustrated.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, those are amazing, and they're high quality.
I'm like
They're
excited
ridiculous.
for you to be able to like everything is new for you at this point. There's
Pretty
so
much.
much good stuff.
Oh,
There's
man.
so much good
The
stuff.
world is your oyster.
It's like I'm into Dread, but I haven't opened the book yet. I just
Man.
finished what is it? Batman Punisher, the one where they meet for the second time. It's done by Dixon, I think.
Oh yeah, John Romita Jr. on
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
pencils. Yeah, so good. Yeah, dude. If you're interested in Chuck's my favorite writer. If you read his Green Arrow run, I think he was doing it for a while, but I read he had this artist Rodolfo DiMaggio on it, and I swear it was like the best action movie I've ever read. You know, it's an action movie on paper. Same thing with his Punisher Warzone that he did
Nice.
with John Romita Jr. Also, same artist, same team that did the Batman Punisher book. They did a book called Punisher Warzone. I usually have it like right next to me somewhere. No, I can't.
That's
Never mind. But that's one of the best comics I ever read.
it's
I mean,
great.
year one, freaking fantastic. It was like watching French Connection, you know, with Batman. I mean, I could go on and on. The list is endless. And then you get crazy stuff. Like, wait, I just had this one out today. Oh man, where is it? Oh man, Cages by Dave McKeon. Have you ever read that, Pete? Oh, here it is.
Cages.
Yeah, look at this. This is Cages.
Oh,
by
I've seen
Dave
that.
McKean.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it. I haven't
This
read it
is-
though. I've seen it. I love the
It's
McKean's
so
work. It's ridiculous.
wild. It's
Looks pretty
so
haunting.
good.
Yeah.
Dude, when you get into it, it's like the characterization and stuff that he's doing in this book, because he's given himself tons of room to experiment.
Just a little bit.
It's let me tell you, man, if you get out of the superhero stuff and start digging into everything else, you start seeing Dan Klaus, you start seeing all these other guys. There's like so much amazing stuff going on in the world of comics, dude.
Nice. I mean, I have Tinseltown. I read the whole thing twice. It's pretty decent.
Well, I mean, if you want to pick up more from Alterna,
Hell yeah.
we won't break the bank on you. At least you're
Like,
reading King Cryptid, right?
No, not yet. I was there for the stream. I had no idea what a cryptid was. I was thinking
Monster creature, yeah.
You gave an explanation, and I was just like, okay, so would a cryptid be like that jellyfish that's only been spotted twice?
Yeah, right.
At all? Yeah,
I mean, sea monsters. You know, so like the Kraken could be classified as a cryptid. Loch Ness monster, of course. You're talking about, like, I don't know what you've heard with whatever, but like the Ogopogo, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, the Dogman. You know, you could classify cryptids even as other things like werewolves and not necessarily though like zombies and vampires, because those aren't classified.
Those are like undead and
yeah. But it's all kinds of cryptid stuff. Once you go down the cryptid rabbit hole, oh my lord, there's
it's like comics. There's like lot. So many. And
they all sound like comic book characters too. You know, Mothman. Yeah. I mean, Mothman's literally named because of the Batman '66 series. So yeah, it was that the name was inspired by that, because that was popular at the time when that happened in Point Pleasant.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Does it have any overlap? Because I was wondering, because I've been really into it. Actually, that's one of the things that I want to include into my comic, which is, it's a superhero comic, but like Eldritch horror. Like I love Eldritch horror. And I kind of wanted to put a less scary spin on it, because like I don't think many people explore the whole idea of just eldritch beings being among, you know, human beings.
Almost like it's normal.
Yeah that stuff is very popular amongst comic book fans. There's you know, it's almost goes hand in hand somehow. There's certain kind of like fiction or even cryptid stuff or even legend that seems to be like either adopted by, or I don't know, it just seems like it fits right in with comic books and comic book people. Who's that author who writes about the unknown horror? Who am I thinking of?
Lovecraft?
Yeah, Lovecraft.
Oh, okay.
You'd be hard pressed to find any comic book fan or creator or anybody that doesn't appreciate Lovecraft. So I mean, yeah, it's that kind of stuff somehow just fits right in.
I mean, it did for me, because that was what I loved before comic books, and it got me into comic books.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, I was into all that paranormal, cryptid, UFO, whatever it was, Bermuda Triangle, Bigfoot, anything I could grab at the library as a kid. And it kind of spurned my love of comics, because comics felt like a sidestep to that, because here's all these other, you know, inexplainable supernatural things going on. You know, people look at superheroes and see these people with powers, but I'm seeing these impossibly possible things. Yeah, and it looks very similar, and it sounds very similar to hearing about stories of aliens and people with psychic ability, and you know, areas in the world that are weird and strange and unusual, and ancient cultures that we still can't figure out how they did what they did. All these things, and even stuff too, like I look at it now, going back to Claremont and Byrne, when they talk about the Savage Land in Antarctica. You know, you look into history and you do a deep dive into all of the different theories about Antarctica and the life that existed there, because at one point in time it wasn't just a big sheet of ice.
Yeah.
You know, it really gets the mind going. And then when you go in even deeper into more modern history and you look at Antarctica, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in Antarctica. Yeah. So it makes me think, at that point in time when they were coming up with these stories, was Claremont deep diving, or someone was deep diving into you know, all these various things, and Admiral Byrd and his, you know, excavations down there, and what happened after World War II, and all of that stuff, and Hollow Earth, and yada yada. You can go on forever and ever.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff just creates, whether it's true or not, it kind of inspires you to have all these ideas and deep dive into exploring them.
Yeah. It's like it's definitely fun. I know a lot of people talk about AI negatively, but I think the one thing that people really overlook when it comes to like Chat GPT is that it's a very strong search engine. Some of the
That's
time,
basically all it is.
yeah, some of the time, like,
It's referential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking for something, or if I don't know about like a Norse mythology kind of thing, I'm just like, hey, could you give me this specific Norse mythology, something close to what I'm looking for, and cite the sources, and I'll just pull it right up and give me like a historical website that I can look into and go, okay, cool, the thing's confirmed, and then I can use that directly into my world building.
Oh, man.
I straight up talk to Google. I'm like, what is that first part of the song of whatever? And then Google will tell you. I think it works on the same principle. So
conspiracy theory Pete over here. I'm just thinking, man, oh man, is that dangerous? One day, all there is that's approved that the AI will tell you is what the government wants you to know. And
it's
then
already
all
doing
right,
it, man.
it's there. Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's because I'd almost rather prefer it if AI was truly a sentient thing. You know, it had its own thought and its own empathetic emotion, or whatever it may be, or otherwise, than it being this thing that right now is very much controlled by people with biases and agendas.
Mm-hmm.
So
Except
that's
for those
a whole
weird
other
occurrences.
Yeah,
like,
that's a whole other show for a whole other day, though.
Yeah.
I'm
with you though.
I do have to comment. Have you heard about that that GPT thing where they would make character descriptions and have like AI shows and stuff like that, where the AI would talk to AI and make random episodes based on that? There was an issue about oddities popping up where the GPT would just go rogue, and there was a removed episode of the AI SpongeBob where they were talking about the government spying on people.
Yeah.
So
Not surprised.
that was pretty creepy, and they were talking about like the end of humanity, giving like a specific date to this and stuff. It was wild.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, we gotta wrap up this show. We went big time into overtime tonight, almost a whole other hour.
And if we're getting into conspiracy, we can do another 2 hours. So we
I don't want to go down seriously as much as I'd love to.
Yeah, another show.
I'll have Kelsey back on again.
I'd love to. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thank you for being on tonight with us.
Yeah, great meeting you, man. Good luck with your story projects. I hope that goes well for you, man. Just be creative and have fun with it. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great night, Exert. So, Kelsey, we're going to wrap it up. Is there anything you'd like to say before we go?
Yeah, I do a show in the mornings on my channel at Comic Kelsey on YouTube, and I do it from 11 to noon every day. And tomorrow I'm going to have Chad Townsend on to help launch his book. I think he's a great talent. I think his book looks great.
Yeah, it really does.
I can't remember what the name of it is offhand, but yeah, check us out tomorrow, and we'll get to talk to him. He's been in animation for years. I think he's a really interesting character, and he's got a really great looking book, and I'm excited to help get it out there. So yeah, come hang out tomorrow.
Awesome, great. Well, it looks like you got 2 backers tonight. You're at 263, 15,806. So you're getting closer and closer to 16,000. And
thank you so much, everybody.
37 away from that 300 that you will reach.
All right, cool. Yeah, I love it. 300 people looking at this stuff. I love it.
There you go. Jay bought Scribbles, so he wants you to know that.
Hey, Jay. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, I went on Jay's show, actually. Yeah.
And then also, let me see here. It was up top. Man, oh, man. Oh, hey, Stato. What's up? Thank you for joining us tonight.
Statistical Zero.
There it is. Sheldon says, finally backed. I was dragging my feet because I don't like creating accounts and having 1 million passwords now, but I did it.
Oh,
so there
thanks,
you go.
Pal. Hey, my promise is that I'm going to be I'm making it very easy for anybody that wants my work. I'm staying right here at Fun My Comic for the foreseeable future. So I'll be doing a lot of books there, and to make it very easy for anybody that wants my stuff, it'll be a one-stop shop. So
beautiful. There
yeah.
you go. All right, man. Well, everybody in the chat, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. This was we went big time overtime tonight, double time. But it went by fast, and I want to have Kelsey on again in the future, and we're gonna have to do.
I'd love to.
Deep
be my
dives
pleasure.
into various things. Man,
into whatever comes up. That's that way.
All right, everyone, have a wonderful night. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And if you haven't done so yet, please go like and subscribe to the channel. If you're not following, make sure you are following. And also, in the description of the show, we've got links for Kelsey's Scribbles book and also for Kelsey's YouTube channel, too. So go and subscribe to Kelsey's channel as well. A lot of fun stuff on there from time to time. And that's about it. Everybody, go check out King Cryptid. That campaign is currently... I saw you guys back in during the show. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
We're at $12,000 right now, definitely. And
far out.
thank you guys. Yeah, this is it's a day and a half. So
wow.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Those are the next 5 issues of King Cryptid, and I can't wait to get them to you guys. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this series. I'm telling over 100 issues, reader willing, Kelsey. I tell you.
Oh, nice.
I got the stories. I already got 40-something stories mapped out and outlined. So I'm
so
ready.
Exciting.
I'm ready to go.
Love it.
Oh, man. All right. Xgal, hey, what's up? Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for watching, too. All right, everybody, take it easy. I will see you guys back here at 1 o'clock Eastern with Crystal McGee on Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
And then the rest of the week, I've got like 90% of this month full of guests. So we'll have a bunch of people on this week. And just so you know, I'll tease it now because some people might want to know. I've got Ethan Van Sciver on the show on Saturday.
Word.
So next Saturday, Ethan will be stopping by, and I'm going to be talking things Cyberfrog with him. I want to pick his brain about that, too.
Yeah, how fun.
But everyone, take it easy. Hope you guys do well with whatever it is you're doing out there. If you're working on creative projects, please keep at it. And Kelsey, once again, man, it was a pleasure having you on. I'm going to have you on. Not just one more time, but several more times.
Thanks for having me, man.
Jetto Joggo on Sundays with Pete and Kelsey.
Yeah, I gotta fight me. Like fight Richard Friend for me.
All right,
you guys can battle it out.
Take it easy, and thank you guys so much again. We'll see you soon.
Later, gang.